Hi, everybody. So today I would like to talk to you guys about metaphor and simile. And these are both kinds of figurative language. Okay, and so we've read a couple of books, talked about some figurative language. I think the best way to really get into what these things are is just to show you them in a sort of a short story. So I'm going to switch over here to where I am sharing my screen with you, and what you are about to see. What you are seeing is it's a seesaw assignment, right? This is just an assignment that I made for me to do this. This is not what you'll actually be doing. But I want to go through this article with you, or I guess it's not really an article, it's this story, and just show you similes and metaphors and talk about what they are, what they mean. So let's go ahead and get started here. It says Ginny hopped out of her bed like a frightened kangaroo. Okay, so right away, that is a simile. Okay, Ginny hopped out of her bed like a frightened kangaroo. Well, what about that makes it a simile? The first thing that you have to have here is you have to have. Boy, I'm not real. You have to have a comparison, and we're comparing two things. We're comparing Ginny and a kangaroo. Okay, both of them hop. That's how they're the same. Now, the reason that this is a simile and not a metaphor is because we compared the two of them using the word like. So Ginny hopped out of her bed like a frightened kangaroo. What we're doing is we're just describing the way that she hops, and we're doing that by comparing her to a kangaroo to paint a picture. Okay? So let's move on now. Next sentence. Okay? She looked around the pigsty that she called her room and moaned. Well, in that sentence, we have a metaphor. Okay. The reason that this sentence is a metaphor, is because we are making another comparison. And we don't use any like or as. So, what two things are being compared here? Well, we're comparing a pigsty and her room. And they did not say like or as, those are simile words. They just basically made the comparison with nothing. They just said that she called it. Okay, and calling her room a pigsty tells us something about her room. It tells us that it's pretty messy, right? So that's how the metaphor helps us see what's going on. Next sentence. She had slept like a log last night, but now she was paying for it. Okay. So we made a comparison in there. What was the comparison? The two things that we compared were the way she slept and a log. Okay, so our comparison was sleep to log. Those are the two things we compared. Okay, and by saying that, the author is telling you that logs they lay still. They don't move. They're not tossing and turning. They're not getting up. They just lay completely still. And so that was how she slept. Sounds like really good sleep. But now she was paying for it. Her hair was a rat's nest, and her teeth were as slimy as an eel. Okay, so in that sentence, we have two comparisons. Her hair was a rat's nest. Oh, I forgot to say with that last one. Sorry. I forgot to say that we use the word like. And so that makes it a simile. Okay. So her hair was a rat's nest. In that comparison, what two things are being compared? We're comparing her hair to a rat's nest. Okay. What did we use to compare them? Well, the author just said was. He didn't say like or as. He just said was. So that was not a simile. That was a metaphor. Okay. And her teeth were as slimy as an eel. There's another comparison. Her teeth were as slimy as an eel. What is being compared? Well, we're comparing her teeth to an eel. How did we compare them? We used the word as. And really, we used it twice. As slimy as an eel. So that was a simile because similes use like or as. Metaphors don't. Okay. She looked at her clock and realized she needed to be a lightning bolt. She only had 10 minutes to get ready for her aunt's wedding. Okay. There's a comparison in there. What was the comparison? It was she needed to be a lightning bolt. Right? So we're comparing her, she, to a lightning bolt. Did we say like or as? We just said that she needed to be. So that is a metaphor because there wasn't a like or as, but there was a comparison. Okay? She only had 10 minutes. She ran around like a chicken trying to find her clothes, comb her hair, and brush her teeth. Okay, so there's a comparison in that sentence. What was the comparison? The comparison was she ran around like a chicken. What did we use? Okay, let's go back to this here. What did we use to compare? Or what did we compare? We compared she to a chicken, right? Those two things are being compared. She was like a chicken. And we said the word like. Because we said the word like, simile. Okay. What does it mean? It means she was running around crazy very quickly, just, in a rush, in a hurry, kind of panicky a little bit. She's trying to get all this stuff done to get ready for the wedding in 10 minutes. Just as her mom called for her from downstairs, she was done. She looked as shiny as a new pin. So she made it. Sounds like she looks good. We have another comparison here. She looked what? As shiny as a new pin, right? She looked as shiny as a new pin. What two things are we comparing? We're comparing the way she looked to a new pin. Okay. Did we say like or as? Yeah, we said as twice. So that was a simile. Okay. Let's move on to paragraph 2. Getting all of the kids into the car was like herding cattle. Did you hear a comparison there? Getting all of the kids into the car was like herding cattle. We're comparing what two things? Well, getting all the kids into the car and herding cattle. Okay? Those two things are being compared. The author is telling us that, it's kind of a hectic job. Some craziness was going on. What was used to compare? Well, they said the word like. Because they said like, it's a simile. Okay? All 6 of the family members were packed into the car like sardines. I heard another comparison there. What are we comparing? We're comparing the way the family members were in there to sardines. And if you've ever seen a can of sardines, I would not be surprised if you haven't. They pack them in really tightly. There's no extra room. Okay. So we're comparing the family members to sardines. Okay. Did we say like or as, or did we just say that they were sardines? Car like sardines. That makes it a simile. Jenny felt like the car was as cramped as a coffin. We got another comparison, right? Jenny felt like the car was as cramped as a coffin. Oops. What are we comparing? We're comparing the cramp, right? We're comparing how crowded that is to a coffin. So if you're in a coffin, hopefully you're not anytime soon. It's just, there's not a lot of extra room in there. There's enough room for you, and that's about it. The car was a speeding bullet. Okay. I'm comparing the car. I'm comparing the car to a bullet. Did I say like or as? No, I just said was. Car being compared to bullet, and I'm just saying that it is a bullet. So that is another metaphor because no like or as. Flying down the road to get to the wedding on time. Okay. I'm going to read through a part of this third paragraph, and I just want you to sort of listen for similes and metaphors. When they finally arrived, Jenny saw her aunt. She was an angel in her gown. Her dress was as white as the clouds, and her eyes sparkled like the diamonds on her ring. Did we hear some comparison? I think we did. Okay. She was an angel in her gown. I'm comparing she and angel. I'm saying that she was like an angel, except I didn't say like. So because I did not say like or as, that is a metaphor. Okay. Her dress was as white as the clouds. There's a comparison. What two things are being compared? Her dress and the clouds, right? Oops. Her dress and the clouds. Did I say like or as? Yeah, I said as white as the clouds. So that is a simile. Her eyes sparkled like the diamonds on her ring. Her eyes sparkled like the diamonds on her ring. What two things are being compared? Her eyes are being compared to diamonds. How did I compare them? I said like. Because of that, it is a simile. Okay? Mom said she was as beautiful as the first spring flowers. As they watched her walk down the aisle, Jenny craned her neck like a giraffe to catch a glimpse of the bride. We've got a few comparisons, right? Mom said she was as beautiful as the first spring flowers. Usually those are tulips. Okay. She is being compared to flowers. Did I use like or as? Yep. As beautiful as the first spring flowers. That's a simile. Okay. As they walked her down the aisle, maybe we should stop here and just talk about the fact that just because they said as doesn't make it a simile. So as they watched her walk down the aisle, that's just literal language. That's not a comparison at all. Okay. Jenny craned her neck like a giraffe. Now we're comparing. Okay. Jenny craned her neck like a giraffe. I'm comparing the way that she is sort of holding her neck. So I'm comparing her neck to a giraffe's neck. She must have been stretching it out very long. Okay. She could see the bride's mom crying, a river of happy tears streaming down her face. Okay, that was a comparison. What two things were compared? The comparison was crying, a river of happy tears. I'm comparing her crying to a river. Did I say like or as? No like or as, so it's a metaphor. Okay? In that moment, Jenny had already forgotten about the crazy morning she had. Life is a roller coaster, and Ginny loved every minute of the ride. There's another comparison. Life is a roller coaster. I am comparing life and roller coaster. Okay. That means that life is kind of wild and scary sometimes, like when you wake up late and, it has its ups and downs, but most of the time you enjoy a roller coaster. Okay. So that's what Ginny's saying here. She loved every minute, even though she probably didn't love the waking up late. It went somewhere good. She knew today was going to be one long party. We could say that comparing today as a party is like a metaphor, but I think she means that in a very literal way. Like weddings are parties. So I'm not gonna work on that one. Okay, so we found a lot of simile and metaphor. The thing that you need to remember here, is that both compare. Okay, both compare. So they both compare. That's how they're alike. How are they different? Well, similes use like or as. And we saw with simile that most of the time, if they use as, they use it twice, as fast as lightning, something like that. Okay. Metaphors, they still compare, but they use other words. They use was or were, or they just say that two things are alike somehow. Okay. Her hair was a rat's nest. She needed to be. So really, it's just no like or as. Okay. Metaphors use a lot of other words. If it's not like or as, and it's definitely a comparison, then it's a metaphor. Okay. So that is the end of our little talk about simile and metaphor. And I'll attach a different assignment for you to do in Seesaw on that. It won't be exactly what we just did, but it'll be the same skills. Okay. I hope you enjoy figurative language. It's kind of neat once you get the hang of it. It's cool.